Hi, boys and girls. Well, it's that time of year again when you get to go back to school. Now, some of you might be having school at your house. You might be homeschooled. Some of you might be doing your schooling on a computer and you watch your teacher on the computer every day. And some of you might be going back to the classroom and learning right in school. It's kind of fun to go to school, isn't it? And boy, in school, don't you have a lot of papers to do, don't you? Well, I brought a school paper today. And since we're talking about going back to school, my picture has something to do with going back to school. And it's a dot to dot, but it's a little different dot to dot. It doesn't have numbers. Can you see? What does it have? It has letters. It has ABCs instead of 1, 2, 3s. So let's see if we can connect the dots and see what our picture is. I'm going to get my markers. I think, what color should I use? I think I'm going to use my red marker today. Okay, so if we're doing ABCs, we probably need to start with A, right? Don't you think? Okay, let's start with A. There's the letter A. Can you see it? Let's go. What comes after A? Let's see. A. Let's sing ABC, and then we can do it while we're singing. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Do you know what it is yet? Smiling at you, whatever it is. Okay, let's keep going. H, I, J, K. Do you know yet? L, M, N, O, P. Oh, do you know? We only have one more. We only have Q. It doesn't go through the whole alphabet. What did we make? What is that? That's an apple. And I don't know. Apples always just kind of remind me of going back to school. Because sometimes when I was a little girl and when I was in school, I'm going to get my red crayon. When I was in school, sometimes we would bring in apples for our teacher as sort of a present. I'm going to make my apple red. What do you think? You like my red apple? See a pretty red apple? Now, when you get papers at school to do, you might get a paper like this to do. But there's something always at the top of the paper. Can you see that? Do you know what that word is? We're going to talk about that today. I'm not going to tell you yet. You might know because you might be able to read already. Now, when you go to school, you're going to learn how to make your letters. You're going to get, let me see, what color marker should I get this time? How about green? I like green. You might get a paper like this, and you might have to learn how to trace your big letter and your little letter. What letter did I make? Oh, and do you see that I kind of missed the line? And you might miss the line when you start. It might be a little hard when you start, but you keep practicing and you'll get better and better. What other letter should I trace? How about J? Let's find J. Oh, I'm going to try so hard to stay on those dots. Oh, it's hard. I hope I don't go off. Oh, I stayed on pretty good this time. Let's see if I can make a little J. Oh, it's just like the big J, only it has a dot on the top. So I made an O and I made a J. But look at the top of my paper. Here's that same thing again. That same word, huh? I wonder what that is. Let's do another paper. This is a silly paper. But you might have to do some stuff like this in school. N, it's a long A. N, A, M. And you don't hear this E at the end. It's quiet. Name. 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 Is that what that word is on top of all those papers? Well, let's trace these letters and see what it says. What color marker should I use? How about pink? Do you like pink? Okay, I'll use pink. Okay, I'm going to trace the first letter. I made an M. Trace the second letter. I. The third, S. S. M. Is. Miss. Okay, I'm going to do the second one. Start here. Oh, boy, C's are hard to make. It's hard to stay on the line. C. Small A. Oh, T's. I like making T's. T. H. Y. I printed my name. Miss Kathy. That's my name. What's your name? Is your name Sue or Becky or Emma or Mary? Is your name Paul or John or Mason or Peter? What's your name? Now, remember last week when we were together, we met two ladies and we learned their names. Martha and Mary. And we talked about choices that Martha and Mary made. And remember, they both made very good choices. Martha decided to serve Jesus, and she worked very hard. But Mary made a better choice. She decided to listen to Jesus. So she made a little better choice. And today, we're going to talk about choices that have to do with our I'm teaching you a new sign, and that sign is the sign for name. Name. Take your two fingers, your pointy and the finger next to it, put them together. Okay? See what I have? Now take the right one and put it on top of the left one. Right, left. Name. 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 My name is Miss Kathy. What's your name? And our stories today are going to be about having a Now, we learned that sign before. That's the sign for good. Good name. Can you sign that? Good, like a pancake. Good name. Good name. Can you do it fast? Good name. Can you do it that fast? Good name. Good name. Now, what does it mean to have a good name? Well, we're going to do a Bible verse. We're going to do our Bible verse first today. But the Bible says in the book of Proverbs 22, 1a, remember that means just the beginning of the verse. The Bible says that a good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. That means it's better to have a good name than riches. Now, does that mean that the name Emma is a good name, but the name Mary isn't a good name? No, that doesn't mean that at all. What that means is, what do people think when they hear your name? When your teacher hears your name called out, Marissa maybe that's your name. Does she think of someone who listens and obeys and is kind to other people and does her work well and doesn't lie and doesn't get into fights? Or does she think of someone who's always causing trouble, always being mean to other people, always starting fights, always talking when they're not supposed to talk? That's what it means to have a good name. Can she trust you? Can your teacher know that when she goes out of the room that you'll be very well behaved? That's what it means to have a good name. And we were talking about Mary and Martha and choosing. So would you choose to have a good name, or would you choose to be very rich? So let's listen to our verse and we'll try it together. A good name, is rather to be chosen than great riches. Proverbs 22:1, part A. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. Proverbs 22:1, verse A. Now, while we do our story today, I want you to think of that good name, because we're going to talk about a little boy named Steve. And we're going to see if he had a good name or if he chose riches. Now, when our story starts, Steve is having a little problem. He is struggling with, remember the jealous monster? The jealous monster's back. Well, Steve's feeling a little bit jealous because his good friend John just got a brand new fishing pole. I mean, brand new, and it is beautiful. And Steve is really a little bit jealous because it is a beautiful, beautiful fishing pole. And John asked his friend Steve, hey, would you like to go fishing? My dad and I are going fishing tomorrow morning, and you know what? You can use my old pole. Oh, well, Steve was really excited because John had a really good old fishing pole too, and he would be very happy to use the old fishing pole. And John said, oh, and you know what? His dad had a little fishing boat. He said, Steve, we're not going on the little fishing boat that Dad has, where we all have to scrunch on. We are going fishing on a great big fishing ship. And there'll be like 20 people on there, and they'll all be fishing. And Steve, it is so much fun. Last time, we went so far out. Last time, my dad caught a small shark. Steve said, no way. Yeah, he did. He caught a small shark. And do you know what, Steve? The captain of the ship even let me steer the ship a little bit. And he might let you. Are you serious? You would let me come? Yeah, it costs $10, and we're going to go really early in the morning. So I'd have to pick you up. Dad and I would have to pick you up really early. You'd have to bring your $10. You can use my pole, and we'll have a really good time. Well, Steve was so excited. He ran home and he ran in the house, and he was just yelling his excitement. Mom, guess what? John said I could go fishing with him. It only cost $10. Well, Mom's like, shh, you're going to wake the baby. Do you ever do that? Like come in the house too loud and you wake up your baby brother and sister? Mom's not too happy. Steve, you got to be quiet. What's going on? Mom, John invited me fishing with him, and he's going to let me use his old pole. And he said, it's only $10. We're going to go on this big, huge ship. We're going to way out on the lake. And his dad caught a shark. Oh, Mom, can I go? Please, please, please. And Mom looked a little sad, and she goes, Steve, your dad's work hasn't been really good lately. He's been kind of not working as much, and we really don't have a lot of spare money. And $10 is a lot of money. I really don't have the money for that. Well, how about if I have enough? Well, Steve, if that's how you want to spend your money, we really could use it here. But if you want to spend your own money, then I will let you go. Well, he ran upstairs and he grabbed his piggy bank and he started shaking and he shook all the money out of his piggy bank. And he had, do you know money yet? Have you done money yet? He had $6.33. Now that's not enough. He needed 10, and he needed 10, and he only has 6. So how much more does he need? He needs almost $4. He needs 10. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a little bit of change. So he needs like $4 more. He ran downstairs. Mom, I only need $4 more. Please, 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 please. Well, I'll talk to your dad later, but Steve, we really don't have the money for that. I'm afraid I'm going to have to say no. But before we talk about it, I promised Miss Baker next door that you would come over. She has a chore for you. Oh, Mom. No one in the neighborhood liked Miss Baker. She was very old. She had a cane when she walked. They thought she had kind of a weird-looking nose. And she was kind of mean. Like, she was cranky a lot. And none of the kids in the neighborhood liked her. And in fact, some of the kids even made fun of her. Oh, Mom, I don't want to go help Miss Baker. I promised, Steve, that you would help her. She needs a big, strong boy to do some work for her, and I need you to go over and do it. Yes, ma'am. And he went out the door, and I'm never going to be able to get my $4 I need because Miss Baker, one time she gave me a whole dime for working for her all day, and my mom made me give it back. So I'm sure that I'm not going to get any money off Miss Baker. So he went in the house, and Miss Baker came over and said, Steve, here's what I need you to do today. The garbage truck is coming tomorrow, and I forgot, and I brought a whole bunch of papers down in the basement, and those have to go out by the garbage can. So would you please take them out? Yes, ma'am. And she went over to sit in her rocking chair, and Steve went downstairs, and oh my, there was a horrible stack of papers, but they were very neat. He thought, I might as well get this done and get home, and maybe I can talk Mom into letting me go fishing. So he grabbed the first stack of papers, and he was going to turn around, and something fell out from under the papers. It was a wallet. Do you know what a wallet is? A wallet. If your daddy has a wallet, it might look like this. It might open up like this. And you can keep your cards and your money. There's a little flap for money. Now, Miss Kathy has a wallet. Mine looks a little different because I'm a girl. Mine looks like this, and I have my picture, my license on it, so I can drive my car, and I have lots of cards in it. So if I go to the store and I need my credit card, and in here it has a place for my money and my important things that I have to carry with me. Well, when Steve picked up those papers, a wallet fell out. He looked around. Nobody was there because Miss Baker was upstairs. And he opened up the wallet. Oh, and much to his surprise, there was money in it. How much was in it? $5. This is a $5 bill. It's like having 5 $1 bills. Now, how much money did I say that Steve needed? Remember, he needed 10 to go fishing. He had a little more than 6, so he needed like $4, almost $4. He just found 5. Is 5 bigger than 4? It sure is. That's enough money for him to go fishing, and nobody would know. All he had to do was stick it in his pocket. That's what it means to have a good name. If Steve would take that money, that would be a bad thing. Miss Baker might not see it. His mom might not see it, but God would see it. And Steve knew that because Steve knew about God, and Steve had Jesus as his Savior, and Steve knew that that was wrong. And as much as he wanted to go fishing, and as much as he wanted that $5, he just couldn't do it. And he ran upstairs. He said, Miss Baker, oh, you boys are always so noisy. Remember I told you Miss Baker's always a little bit cranky. Why are you all so noisy? Miss Baker, I found something downstairs. I found a wallet, and it has money in it. Miss Baker, is it yours? Well, all of a sudden, this mean lady started to cry. She started to cry. Boys hate it when girls cry. She started to cry, and she said, "Oh, Steve, I can't believe you found it." She said, I don't get my check until Monday, and I have no money at all. You have food, don't you? Well, I have a couple cans of beans in the cupboard, but I'm really short. I don't have any milk. I don't have any bread, and I just was waiting for my check to come. But now that you found this $5, that's going to help me out so much. Well, Steve took the rest of the papers up and took out to the garbage, and Miss Baker thanked him and thanked him for finding the wallet. And Steve ran home and he said, Mom, I can't believe what just happened. And he told her the whole story about taking the papers out and needing $4 and finding $5. He said, Mom, I couldn't keep it. He said, I had to give it to Miss Baker. And Mom, she doesn't have any food, and her check doesn't come till Monday. And couldn't we bring her over some stuff? Well, Steve's mom was really excited. And you know how moms are. They make these big things of food. And she made this big platter of food with some vegetables and some fresh stuff on it, and made some bread and put some meat on it. And they took it over to Miss Baker, and Miss Baker started to cry again. And Steve's like, oh, is that all ladies do is cry? And she's crying, and she said, Ma'am, your son, I'm going to tell all my friends what a good boy he is, and that they can depend on him, and that he's truthful, and how kind he is. And Steve said, well, ma'am, I have Jesus in my heart, and Jesus wouldn't be very happy if I stole your money. And Miss Baker said, do you think Jesus could forgive an old lady like me? And Steve's mama said, sure, Jesus wants everyone to believe in him. Doesn't matter if you're young or old. And they got to sit down and talk to Miss Baker about getting saved. Steve had a good name. Not because his name was Steve. It could have been Leroy or John or anything. He had a good name because he did what was good. He did what was honest. He did what pleased Jesus. And when people in the neighborhood heard the name Steve, they knew he was a dependable boy. What do people think when they hear your name? Do they think of someone kind? Do they think of someone good who tries to do, maybe doesn't do right all the time, because none of us do, but someone who likes to help people? In our Bible story, we're going to find a man who also wanted to have a good name. This man was going on a very, very long trip because God made him some wonderful promises. God said, Abraham, I want you to go where I show you. I'm going to show you a new land. And Abram, when you get there, I'm going to give you that land, and I'm going to give it to you and all of your children. And I'm going to bless you. Well, Abram, who later was called Abraham, so we'll call him Abraham. Abraham and his wife Sarah and their nephew Lot all went on this wonderful trip. Now, they didn't know where they were going. It's not like when you go to the park or something and you know where you're going. They didn't know where they were going. They were just following God. And finally, they came to that wonderful land that God promised them. And they looked out, and it was a beautiful land. And Abraham looked over that land, and it was just beautiful. But there was a problem. See, when they left on their trip, Abraham brought all his people who helped him and took care of his sheep and his cattle and everything. He took all his workers, and Lot also took all his flocks and herds and all his workers. Well, when they got to this new land, they kind of were all in the same spot, and they started fighting. No, this is my land. No, this is my, get your sheep over it. Get your cow on your own land. And they started kind of fighting and bickering, kind of like you and your sisters and brothers do sometimes. And they got to fighting. And Abraham thought, I don't want the people looking and seeing us fighting all the time. That's not good. So now Abraham was the older one. He could have said, Lot, I want you to go over there because this is my land. He didn't do that. Abraham had a good name. He said, Lot, you pick whichever land you want, you can have, and I'll move. Wow. I think I would have been a little more selfish and said I wanted the best, but not Abraham. Abraham let Lot choose first. He shared. And Abraham is known for having a good name because he chose God's way. He chose sharing over fighting and being selfish. Steve chose being honest over stealing. How's your name? Now that we did our stories, let's go back and let's think about our new verse. When you go to school this year, do you want to have a good name? A good name. When people look at you, do you want people to think, wow, there's a person that loves Jesus so much that they're kind and they share and they obey and they work hard. And that good name is to be chosen rather than riches. That's the choice Steve had, his good name or his fishing trip. Now, he didn't get his fishing trip, but he got to be a fisher of men because of Steve's good testimony he had. Miss Baker got saved. And so actually he did go fishing. He just didn't go fishing out on a boat. So let's work on our verse a little bit and let's think about our names today. Okay? Let's try it together. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. Proverbs 22:1, part A, the first part of the verse. Sing it with me one time. We'll go very slow. Okay, ready? A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. Proverbs 22:1, verse 21, 22:1, part A. Thank you for helping me on that because I messed it up. Let's try it again. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. Okay, help me. Proverbs 22:1, part A. Thank you. I do better when you help me. Okay. Good, like pancakes. Good name. Good name. Name. Good name. Ready? A good name. It's hard. A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. Help me. Proverbs 22:1, part A. It's hard. You can do this. I know you can. Okay, ready? A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. Proverbs 22:1, part A. Are you getting it? Come on, you can do it. Don't give up. Ready? A good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. Proverbs 22:1, part A. One more time. A good name, a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. Proverbs 22:1, part A. Let's do our well song. Remember our well song? Therefore with joy shall ye draw water out of the wells of salvation. Isaiah 12 and verse 3. Therefore with joy shall ye draw water out of the wells of salvation. Isaiah 12 and verse 3. Okay, we're talking about going back to school, so we got to have our apples. Red is rojo, red is rojo, blue is azul, blue is azul, yellow amarillo, yellow amarillo, verde green, verde green. What? What do you mean there's no blue apples? Of course there's blue apples. There's a blue apple right there. Don't tell me there aren't any blue apples. Black is negro, black is negro, blanco is white, blanco is white. Oh, Miss Kathy. Purple is morado, purple is morado, coffee brown, coffee brown. Pink is rosa, pink is rosa, grease is gray, grease is gray. Uh-oh, we have an orange apple. That sounds really weird, doesn't it? Anaranjado orange, anaranjado orange. Miss Kathy, you're silly. Miss Kathy, you're silly. Behold, behold, I stand at the door and knock, knock, knock. Behold, behold, I stand at the door and knock, knock, knock. If any girl hear my voice, if any boy hear my voice and will open the door, I will come in. Do you remember? Girl, because girls wear bonnets. Girl, boy, boy, girl, boy, girl, boy. Behold, behold, I stand at the door and knock, knock, knock. Behold, behold, I stand at the door and knock, knock, knock. If any girl hear my voice, if any boy hear my voice and will open the door, I will come in. Behold, behold, I stand at the door and knock, knock, knock. Behold, behold, I stand at the door and knock, knock, knock. If any girl hear my voice, if any boy hear my voice and will open the door, I will come in. Boys and girls, I hope you have a really good start to school. And I hope you remember to have a good name. When you write that name on the top of your paper, when you write your name, I hope you remember that God wants you to have a good name, a good testimony. And I hope you work really hard at it and ask Jesus to help you. Have a good week, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye, boys and girls.